Think you need 20% down to buy a house? Or that you can't buy anything if you have student loans? Let's bust the biggest homebuyer myths, true or false style. Hi, I'm Bailey Worstell, your Southern Missouri Realtor. Today we're cutting through the confusion and going over the most common myths in the real estate industry. Whether you're dreaming of your first home or you're just wondering what's actually possible, this one's for you. Myth number one, you need 20% down to buy a house. That's mostly false. Most buyers just do not need to have that 20% down. And I say that really depends on what type of loan program you are looking at. In reality, a lot of buyers can qualify for as little as 3 or 5% down with a conventional loan, but you can do 0% down if you go through a program through a VA loan or a USDA loan. So, for example, certain areas do have to qualify for the USDA program, but I know even in a town close to us of Mountain Grove, there are certain areas that do qualify for the USDA program, and you could find a house that qualifies under that, and you can have 0% down on your loan. So just going after the myth that you have to have 20% down is just not the case. Myth number two, you should wait until interest rates drop. That's going to be mostly false as well. The truth is that the market is unpredictable. I completely understand the hesitation of wanting to buy, but waiting could end up costing you more in the long run. So, for example, let's say you want to wait a year to buy in hopes of interest rates dropping just even 1%. But in the meantime, home prices rise. So in the long run, you could end up paying more, and that's just not going to be worth it to have waited that 1 year for that 1% interest rate drop. So the truth is, the best time to buy is when it's financially reasonable for you to buy and not just the right timing with the headline saying what interest rates are. So the thing is now, if you go ahead and buy now, you're building equity into a home. But if it's something that you really are rate conscious, you could go ahead and buy now, and when and if rates were to drop, you could refinance. Myth number three, you can't buy a home if you have student loans. False. I heard this all the time as a lender. Um, your debt to income ratio is what matters. So they're not looking at just one specific thing, they're looking at your entire portfolio, if you want to call it that, and comparing how much of your monthly income goes towards your debts, what you have left over, and also factoring in what your new loan payment would be with your new loan. So really, when I was a lender, I mean, I worked with so many people who either thought this way or they did have student loans and they were just concerned that they wouldn't qualify, but that just wasn't the case. I had many people who had student loans and they were still able to go through and get their loans. So the truth here is just talk to your lender early before you even really go heavy and start looking at properties. Get a pre-approval, know exactly what you're able to spend. So when it comes time where you want to make that contract, you're not concerned about if you would even qualify when you go to apply for a loan. Myth number four, you need to have perfect credit to get a loan. That's going to be false as well. Many people think that you have to have such a high credit score to even get a loan, but it is possible to get a loan if you have a credit score as low as 580, even though it's not recommended. Do recommend that you try to increase your score before trying to get a loan, but there are different programs out there that will allow you to have a score that low. It's just going to be a little bit harder to get certain loans and get into certain programs that might fit what you need for the interest rate, down payment, all of that stuff if you do have a low credit score. A lot of times, the higher your credit score, you can get better interest rates or, like I said, into better loan programs. So if you do have a low credit score, I do recommend that you work on that and try to increase it. I do know several lenders who can help guide you through that process if that's something that you would be interested in. No pressure on that, just something to help you build your credit score to plan better for when the time comes that you do want to purchase something. Myth number 5, renting is always cheaper than buying. That is false. Rent prices are rising, and in Missouri, it's pretty common that you can find a house that will have a lower monthly mortgage payment than what the monthly rent would be of a house of the same quality. So let's say, for example, you are spending $1,200 a month in rent. That's going to add up to over $14,000 a year, and that's all going towards what? You're not building it on anything. So if you do have your own property that you're building an equity on, for one, obviously you're building your own equity, but you have other benefits like tax benefits that will help you out in the long run, just financially on that. So this is something that if you're in that boat of you're trying to compare, man, should I just rent or should I buy something? That's something that I like to crunch the numbers on and kind of compare and help you with that and see what would be better for you in that circumstance for you to rent something or to buy. If you've believed any of these myths, you're not alone, but let's get you to the facts. Drop your questions in the comments below, and if you're considering buying in Missouri, let's chat. Thanks for sticking around for the end of this video. I hope this video was helpful and informative for you today and maybe leaves you a little bit myth busted. Be sure and like and subscribe to the channel. If you know of anybody who is interested in moving to Missouri, then send them this video and maybe it will be helpful for them as well. See you next time.